Good morning again. It's the Friday of London Calling 2008. I have here with me Ray Anderson, the CEO of Bango. Thanks a lot for coming in and talking to us here at the Music Void. Can you please explain Bango and its actual proposition in terms of the music business?
Okay, well, Bango is all about helping people with mobile content get it from a website down to a mobile user with internet access on their phone. So really what that's all about is people who've got mobile specific websites, and in particular what we do is we help people be found, collect payment for their music, and also to find out who's actually using their music or collecting their music.
Right, okay, so it's almost an end-to-end solution in that respect for music content owners.
That's right.
From billing to analytics to... Okay.
So in the main, traditionally we've worked with the bigger players like the Sony BMGs and then the people who work for them. But recently we've started announcing products that are okay for people to say their own MySpace site or a Facebook site where they can share their music out.
So out for even the consumer DIY type setup in terms
Exactly.
of music content. Okay, because that's a serious growth area. Now, there are a number of companies providing sort of payment solutions and analytics in the mobile space. What is it that you actually think differentiates Bango from those competitors?
Okay, well we work 100% for the people with the music, for the content provider. So unlike a lot of billing providers who want to make you use their billing system, we turn the thing on its head and we say, look, we have connections to many billing systems, whether they're premium SMS, mobile operators, credit card, PayPal, Google, and we help you select dynamically the best payment method. And that works really well on mobile, because when a mobile user comes in, you don't know which country they're coming from, you don't know which operator. So if you want to keep things simple, you want to use the best billing method at that time. That's what we help you do. On the analytics side, we were the first to do mobile analytics. I think we have a lot of extra technology that means we can do a better job than anybody else.
Okay, that's good. Okay, and so mobile. Well, I've read a few of your brochures, and when you're speaking about mobile web, you do mean WAP. Am I correct? Specifically or not?
It's a good question. WAP is the wireless access protocol. So 4 or 5 years ago, most mobile phones had a sort of a heavily cut down version of a web browser. So you had to make your site only work with those cut down elements. Increasingly, they're getting more and more functionality.
XHTML and
that's right. So what we really mean these days is XHTML or WAP or possibly HTML. But if you do XHTML and WAP, you get 95% of all phones.
Yeah, it's optimized for phones. Okay. But I was going to say the customer experience, well, perhaps it's down to marketing. On some WAP sites has been a bit of a deterrent in previous probably seems. Maybe it's coming to the fore now. Now, what is your view on sort of WAP versus mobile applications?
Okay, well, I think for a few years applications had a bit of an edge for some applications, some uses where you could do a nice quick update on the screen and you could impress people by folding pages quickly. But these days everything's moving very, very strongly towards WAP or web versus the application for a number of reasons. Number one is it's just easier to build a website that just changes and dynamically evolves to meet all the phones that you might want to use, rather than to download applications. Secondly, payment is a lot easier when you've got a web-based service. If you have to have some sort of trusted application that can do the billing, you're going to be very hard pushed to get that past all of carriers and billers and so on. And then finally, web is just getting so much quicker and easier, and it's just what people expect. So building apps is just too hard work.
Okay, and when do you see the mobile web experience becoming comparable to our current broadband web experiences in terms of speed and?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting question. I use a broadband modem on my laptop sometimes to browse the web, and it's not too bad. So there's obviously nothing wrong with the actual bits and bytes running up and down the screen. I think the big difference really is a lot of the horsepower on the handsets isn't as much as the horsepower on a PC, so you get a bit of a sluggish response. But to be honest, I wouldn't say they're comparable. It's like the mobile is used in a different context, so you pull out your mobile and use it one-handed. You'll use it if you're a white van man, and it'll be used in a different way than sitting in front of a big 17-inch screen and doing lots of dynamic actions with a mouse.
Okay, and what are your views on one, the advertising funded models, and then two, the subscription models in terms of the long-term opportunity for the music business?
Good question. I think clearly a lot of music today is built on radio stations and TV channels taking music and broadcasting it and then wrapping advertising around that, so they buy the advertising above the ladder. I think the move to mobile being your own personal music device though, and where you can keep all your music and have access to anything you want, which is going to happen, which is already happening in fact, and then you can share it with your friends, means that I think the technology of payment, which allows you to pay money on your mobile very easily these days, and the technology of delivery, which is getting faster and faster and easier, means that everything should converge around as you need in payment. And I actually think subscription is a viable model in some applications, but I think buy what you want is going to be much more mainstream. A la carte.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. And transparency in content sales reporting is coming to the fore from a music industry standpoint especially. And as leakage on the carrier side has become seen as quite a serious issue for the content owners. Would you agree with that? Transparency, you're seeing, is a key issue.
Transparency is key because users who get charged for something they didn't want or didn't agree to pay is very, very bad. Leaves a bad long-term taste with the customer, with their parents, with the market. So that's not a good thing. In terms of leakage, I think now that we've moved over to, in the UK at least, we've moved over to what's called the pay-for-it model, which is transparent and is robust. There isn't really any leakage anymore in terms of loss, users paying for things they can't get. It's all done through the phone, on the internet. So I think that's largely disappeared now.
Okay. And 90% of global subscriber growth in 2007 was in the emerging markets. What are the key markets Bango is targeting, and where does it view the mobile opportunity for music in terms of these emerging markets?
Okay, well we work for the content providers and the music owners, so we go where they're going.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, we're seeing a huge explosion in activity in, for example, India, but actually it's the production side we're seeing the interest in. So they're connecting into Bango, visiting bango.com, connecting through bango.com to sell their content worldwide. We're not seeing many people in US, UK selling content into India, possibly because the amount spent is not heavy. Now, on the other hand, last week we just activated operator billing in South Africa.
Right.
And that's proved really interesting. We saw an interesting pattern. We saw that some content providers were selling things in South Africa, and they were only getting like a 15% conversion rate from someone saying pay to getting the money was 15%, which we learned immediately, so they were delivering the goods. But when they dropped their price from say £1.50 a bit of music to say 50p for a bit of music, suddenly the conversion rate jumped to about 65%. So it indicated to us that the people didn't have money to spend at the £1.50 level, but at the 50p level they could spend quite comfortably.
Right, so it's
about pricing as well.
Yeah, the price point in these markets is that the label's going to realise they're not going to get what they get in the UK or America.
Yes.
That it's a volume business because it's such a growing business.
That's right, and we certainly see the traffic in places like India, Indonesia, China, Brazil is heavy. It's just how do we figure out ways that we can help extract money from those consumers for their music without it costing too much.
Okay, that's great. So what brings Bango to London Calling?
Well, we do a lot of business with the major music labels, the Sonys and the EMIs and Universals and so on. And so the next step is we need to learn a lot more about how do we help the people with music, the smaller labels, the indies, do business on the mobile web. At the moment they've been knocking unsuccessfully on the doors of mobile operators, or they've been going to aggregators who then give them a little bit of attention. We want to give them tools to help people progress. So one of the successes we had recently was with something called the Bango button. It's enabling people with, say, a MySpace site to sell their music straight off their MySpace site to mobile users. And that's proved very, very attractive. So the next level beyond that is to say, how can we do that if you don't have a MySpace site, or how can we make that whole process much easier? And that's where we need to go.
Okay, great. Now, finally, Ray, can you provide us here at the Music Void with any news regarding Bango or any soon-to-be-announced deals?
Well, I don't normally like to pre-announce deals, especially since if they were important, they'd be price sensitive, and we're a public company, so we have to tell our shareholders at the same time.
Right.
However, an exciting piece of news is, which is only a few hours old, is last night we won the headline award at the Mobile Content Awards in London. So that I hope will be going out on the wires in the next few hours.
Yes.
And that for us was a really nice achievement.
Okay, which award was that?
It's the Mobile Content Award. It's the
Okay.
most significant contributor to mobile content, 2008.
Okay,
So very interesting.
that's great. Look, the Music Void would like to thank you very much for your time today,
Nice
and
to meet
I
you.
hope London Calling is successful for you.
Okay, looks that way so far. Thank you.
Great.